Welcome to SpeakPro e-learning course. I'm Ivy, and we'll be doing some IELTS speaking practice today. Let's get down to business. Well, in the previous lesson, we talked about the template for the topic of describing an event or an experience. So today, in this lesson, I want to give you an example so that you can see very clearly how the template can help you in a real test. And I've decided to go with two topics today. Describe a time when someone apologized and a talk to a stranger. The reason why I chose these two topics together is because I believe that we can combine them. All right, now let's talk about the template. Okay, I hope you still remember that there are 5 main aspects that you should cover in your talk about an experience. The first one is the occasion, when it happened or will happen, the frequency. Number 2, it's about the venue, the where question, and then the who question, and then the question of the activities or the incidents, your solutions or the consequences, and finally the feelings, intentions, and lessons. Okay, that's the theory. Now it's time to put that into practice with these two topics. Okay, but before we talk about how we use the template, I want you to think about the most important thing for these two topics, that is the situation when it could happen. So let's see, time when you apologize to someone, a time you talk to a stranger. Well, if I have to combine the two topics, I think I would talk about a time when I stamped on somebody's foot, his or her foot, and then beep, I just stepped on it. Okay, so that happens all the time, especially in crowded places. Maybe you can talk about the time when you were queuing or getting in line to buy tickets for a movie, or maybe you can talk about the time when you were waiting for the bus to come, or the time when you were complaining about a poor service or a damaged product with a manager, for example. Okay. If it's just about apologizing to someone, then you can think of some common mistakes, for example, being late for an appointment. Okay, so that's the most important thing to think of when you look at the cue card, you imagine the situation. And with that kind of thinking, now as you can see, you already have some ideas about the first main aspect to cover according to the template, right? The occasion, the when, and also the where. I mentioned buying tickets, of course, at the cinema, or you can talk about complaining with a manager at a store or a restaurant. That's the place. Okay, now let's think about what happened, the what happened question. Of course, when someone made mistakes, he or she had to be apologetic. Be apologetic for doing something or for something, or apologize to someone for something. Say sorry. Okay, apologize is the verb, intransitive, so you have to use to someone for something. You can use some adverbs like sincerely and profusely. It means from the bottom of your heart. And maybe you want to explain what happened to make sure that the person didn't get it wrong. So you can say explain something to someone or talk somebody through something. That means to explain something by telling the person very detailed. And maybe you can talk about what you did to make up to the person, to redeem yourself if you're the one who made the mistake. So you can say you did something to redeem yourself. For example, you can talk about buying a little present as a token of your apology, or sending an apology letter, or maybe offering a voucher if you're the restaurant's manager, or you treat someone to something. That means you buy something special or you pay for something for someone. You treat someone to something. In this case, you can say treating your friend, for example, if you were late for an appointment with her, you treat her to a meal as a peace offering. A peace offering is a little present bought and given to make peace with someone, to stop an argument, something like that. Okay, that's the what happened question. Now, feelings, lessons, intentions. Okay, now feelings, you can say at first you were angry, for example, you were frustrated, you were kind of irritated. Irritated is a stronger word for angry because you had to wait, somebody kept you waiting. Keep somebody, verb ing. Somebody, maybe a friend, kept you waiting, so you were irritated, you were out of your patience. But later, someone showed up with an apologetic smile, maybe a peace offering as well, and then your anger started to burn out. Your anger started to burn out. it means it stopped and you eventually let it go. You stop talking about the mistake, you stop feeling angry, you let it go, let something go. Lessons, okay, it depends on the mistake. I think maybe to keep an eye on the time if it's about being late, maybe it's about taking the blame. It's important that you take the blame. I mean, you admit your responsibility when you made a mistake, and then you try to redeem yourself, to make up to someone, to treat somebody with kindness, with good manners. Manners, plural. That means to be polite. Or maybe to stay calm. Another word for calm is composed. To stay composed. No matter what happens, what really matters is that you stay calm, composed, and you treat each other with respect and kindness. In that way, many problems can be solved and conflicts can be resolved. All right, well, I think that's basically everything you need to talk about a mistake or a talk to a stranger. Now, I will try my best to put everything together, but of course I have to pick one specific situation to talk about as an example. So let's start over. Well, I would like to tell you about a time when I accidentally stepped on someone's foot. I remember, as if I remember rightly, it was a few months back and I was getting in line for a movie ticket. That was a long line and it was kind of chaotic because it was kind of crowded at the movie theater. So when someone was jostling, I stumbled and then I accidentally stepped on the foot of the person standing right in front of me. Well, I assumed that I hit her quite hard because as soon as she turned around, I could see her frowning, and I could hear a plausible ouch. So I was kind of worried that, well, I might have, injured her in some way or maybe damaged her shoe or something like that. So the first thing I did right away was being very apologetic for my action, although I didn't mean to hurt her in any way. And also, I didn't want her to think that I was jostling, so I stepped on her foot. So I tried to talk her through what really happened. And to the best of my surprise, although she was kind of, painful, she tried to stay very composed and responded to my apology with kindness, as much kindness as possible. She smiled to me and she tried to assure me that she was fine. I didn't do much harm to her foot or her shoe. Once again, I apologized to her profusely. Because of her friendliness, I quickly got composed and I decided to, make some small talk with her, to kill time because we were both waiting for our turn to buy the ticket, and the conversation ended when it was her turn at the box office. Well, from that experience, what I remember most is probably how we should treat each other or how we can react, how we should react in some unexpected situations. It's important that we take the blame if we're the one who made the mistakes and we try to redeem ourselves one way or another. That way, with our sincerity and with our kindness, I believe that most of the problems can be solved and conflicts resolved. All right, so I just gave you an example of how you can apply the template to give any talk about an experience, an event. All right, and at the same time, I hope that you picked up some great vocabulary and ideas to talk about a mistake or, in general, an unexpected situation. Well, that's it for today's lesson. I'll see you in the next video with another question type. Make sure that you practice hard and in the right way. Until next time, bye!